just makes me want to play folky stuff. I love it. Well, thank you so much for tuning in today. Welcome again to Guitar Tune Tuesday. Lucas here with my buddy George. George, thanks again for being on the show.
Having fun.
Yeah, me too. This is so cool. You know, it's so cool to talk about these old guitars and really fun to talk with someone else about them as opposed to just me, you know, yapping behind the camera. You know, it's a nice change. I really enjoy it. So our third and final installment, at least for now, in this little mini series is this Gibson
LG0.
LG0.
Yeah.
So tell me about this guitar.
This one it's the simplest of the batch.
Yeah.
You know, as you know, from the previous two episodes, you know that it started with the L1 and the passion actually, I guess it started with the mandolin and then the passion kept growing from there.
Yeah.
And in the story of the L1 is the guitars passed along from person to person. So I know it's not a forever guitar for me. And well, we know we're custodians of guitars. To get really into an instrument, as we were talking earlier, you've got to have a degree of ownership over that instrument. We did that with our kids when they were learning piano and fiddle and everything, as we made sure they had a sense of ownership of the instrument and it was a good enough instrument. So, so knowing that the L1's not mine forever sent me on this quest of what will it be replaced with someday. And, you know, another proper L1, A, you can't find one, and B, if you do, I'm not allowed to remortgage the house to get it, so there's that limitation. So I stumbled on this as a potential. And my buddy Arthur McGregor that we were talking about before, I asked him, hey, Arthur, would this be a good replacement for the L1? And he says, it's a fine instrument, but it's not a replacement per se. So I found this one in a coffee shop in Northbrook, which is up by Bon Echo Campground. And it had been hanging there. We saw it last summer when we camped there. We went back up this summer and it was still there. So I decided to spend some time with it and went back and forth between the L1 and this. And it surprised me how much I enjoyed this guitar because while there are some similarities, there's some significant differences. And one of the key ones that you noticed right away is the width of the nut up by the headstock. It's tiny.
Yeah, it's tiny, which makes me think it's kind of mid to late 60s. Because I think in 65, there was some miscommunication where the head of Gibson at the time said, I like these narrow nuts on these... I think they were Melody Maker guitars.
Right.
And then the production team, I may be telling this story wrong, but the production team took that as, I like these narrow nuts in general. So then they switched to these narrow nuts for quite a while after that. So, I mean, it's hard to date guitars for sure, right? It's hard to know, but I think that was 65 or so.
Yeah, and especially Gibsons, right? Because their serial number process was every 2 years, roll the dice and we'll start there. We'll start over kind of thing. So they're so hard to date by the serial number.
And they were handmade, so like all the necks on all the old Les Pauls and everything like that, like they're all different. They're all completely unique, and the nut widths can change as well.
Yeah.
Too.
So it surprised me how much I like it, but I think it's because of the amount I play mandolin that quickly became comfortable for me, the tighter string.
I get it, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, like I used to have a Gibson with this kind of nut width, and eventually I sold it because for me, I guess it's my long fingers and kind of big hands. I prefer something wider. But, you know, I mean, the more guitars that I play, I'm fortunate to play, you know, guitars at different music shops and what have you, you know, the more you get used to whatever, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's, you know, once you adjust to it, it's not so bad. It is very narrow, but it's cool, you know?
Yeah.
Because the neck, it does have a nice shoulder on it, which kind of, with a narrow nut width like that makes all the difference, you know? Because it actually feels substantial to grab onto.
Exactly.
You know, so.
And the rest of the guitar, it's, you know, like the L1, it's ladder braced.
Okay.
This one's all mahogany as opposed to having the spruce top, which accounts for it being that bit brighter. There's, you know, this has the classic Gibson woody tone, but you're not going to call it a warm sounding guitar by any stretch.
Right. It's mid-range.
It's mid-range, and then the bridge definitely has been replaced, and it's got the backwards Gibson shape that annoys a lot of people. Looks like the bridge is on backwards. But if it was pre-65, it would have been wood. If it's post 65, there's a few years they actually put a plastic bridge on those, and
Right.
most
Not
of those
desirable.
have been replaced. Not desirable. If the guitar has survived this long, it's likely been replaced.
Yeah, and I played some Gibsons from the mid to late 60s that also had adjustable bridges too.
Yeah.
Again, not the best, but
Nope.
so I'd say the right thing has been done here. That's
definitely,
good.
definitely.
And these guitars were made like from the mid 50s, I believe, until 70s at some point.
I think very early 70s, if they, the ones that made it in the 70s.
And they were marketed as a student model guitar.
Absolutely, and that's what I sort of speculated in my mind. I got nothing to back it up, but maybe that's why the nuts are so narrow is for smaller hands.
That's absolutely possible. So in that case, it could be earlier 60s for sure. I never even thought about that.
And I wanted in my heart, I wanted to be a 64 because then it's my birth year guitar.
Oh, cool! Yeah.
And then the other thing is this translucent red pick guard, which is way too thick and unnecessary, and right from the factory held on with 3 screws. I mean, it just makes no sense.
Right. Yeah. I mean, that's a product of its time, I guess, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like lots of these things, but yeah, it's a cool guitar to play. It's a little bit bigger than the L1s. You know, it's probably about 14 inches or so here, something like that. Almost feels like an OM or something. You know.
Yeah, it's just its own little unique
thing.
beast. It feels good, and one of my favorite things on it, and you won't be able to see it on the video, but the finish is crackled.
Oh yeah,
like so deeply crackled, and
which is awesome.
It is. It's like now I can take it to the beach and put it down without panicking. But I just love the look and feel.
Yeah, when it comes by it honestly, you know what I mean. Like it's just years and years of being, all the temperature changes and humidity changes and all that stuff, and being played.
Being played,
which is the thing that really counts, because then the guitar was loved.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I mean, this was definitely been refretted more than once by the looks of it, and these frets are flat. So someday, probably in October, I'll take the time and recrown the frets, and it'll be a little bit more, even more playable.
Yeah, they still have some life. I mean, they're small, like the Gibson frets of the time, but that not too small. But I'll play it a little tiny bit more here. Let's see here. Maybe something a little bit different. Maybe let's see here. Slightly bigger body, it kind of makes me want to play with a pick, but I guess it would be a great fingerstyle.
Yeah, I played a lot of fingerstyle on that one.
Yeah, it's a great, like, it makes me want to play folky kind of country stuff. I don't know why, but it's cool. What kind of stuff do you play on?
Folky, a lot of East Coast stuff. I'm they call me 4-chord George.
Right.
Yeah, I got my 4 chords. Well, my band Happy Crap, our first album was called 4 Chords and a Capo, because that is all you need. And it
is.
We pound it out and have fun. That's that's my style of stuff.
Yeah, great guitar for that kind of stuff. It's less delicate, right, than the other ones.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you can't hammer it.
Wow, very cool.
It's got what's it got on it for strings? It's got D'Addario's. I don't remember what, but I've got a few more sets of strings to go through before I find what I really want on it, because that's the important part of the instrument that doesn't get talked enough about, like the arch top.
Yeah.
I must have gone through 7 or 8 different types of strings
Yeah.
before I found something, and it has to have
It's got flats. Yeah.
the flat wounds.
Yeah.
It has to have, sorry, flat top, not flat wound.
Oh, okay.
Flat wounds died on that guitar.
Oh.
The flat tops are just sort of slightly flattened in processing. And that's the only thing. I went through silk and steels. I went through everything.
Every guitar is unique, and like that's an important thing for everyone who's watching is take time and experiment. Like it's the cheapest way to change your tone, like picks and strings, right?
Yeah.
Like it's amazing. It's amazing how different different strings are on a guitar. It changes the mid-range characteristics and the high end and the low end and all that stuff. It's really important to experiment with that stuff.
Yeah,
you know?
and the picks. I mean, a buddy of mine, I have one at my fingertips here, but he gave me a Wiegand pick.
Oh wow!
And
Cool.
for my birthday one year, and they're like $18 a piece, and they're the big triangular shape with the holes, and the sides are beveled a bit. And,
Yeah, those are
and
cool.
he says, "I hope this changes your life as much as it changed mine." I go, "I've got a horrible pick. This isn't going to work at all." And I just kind of went, "Oh damn! Now my picks are $18 a piece," and that's I can't go back to another pick. But you've got to experiment, and it gives me the tone and the feel that I want and control. That's what you got to find in your pick.
I've never tried those picks, but I know Jack Pearson from Nashville, who I've had the chance to play with and meet a couple times in my life. Good fortune. This guy's amazing. He's a huge fan of those Wiegans.
Yeah.
He loves them.
Yeah.
Absolutely loves them. But what a cool guitar! What a cool story! Thank you again, George. It's been a pleasure to have you on the show,
blast.
my
Thank
friend.
you.
Thank you so much, eh?
Thank you.
Yeah. We'll see everybody again soon. Thanks for watching.